Welcome to our Sunday Dharma talk, and today giving an introductory talk is Mark Van Noppen. He started practicing in 1978 in Providence. While a student at Brown, he took a long break from formal practice and started a work family. He became an artist and went into business. And then in 1982, he returned to formal practice. In 2015, he became engaged here again at the Providence Zen Center, and he's a Dharma teacher in training. So he's going to do the introductory talk, and answering questions today will be Zen Master Tan Gong. And Zen Master Tan Gong is a co-guiding teacher here at the Providence Zen Center, and the guiding teacher of the Delaware Valley Zen Center, which he helped found in the spring of 1999. He began studying Zen with Zen Master Dae Kwang at the Providence Zen Center in 1994. Receiving full Inka, which is the authorization to teach, in 2009, and in Dharma transmission from Zen Master Dae Kwang in April of 2023. And as an industrial statistician, he works closely with engineers and scientists to help them make sense of data. He lives in Rhode Island with his wife and daughter. And so he's going to answer questions today, and please feel free to ask any questions that you like. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to thank the folks who are here keeping this place going. Kwan Heng Sneed, Carol and Lisa, Zen Master, Eva, and others who were here. You know, we're able to be in this spectacular room because they're working really hard to keep the place intact. So on some level, like, you know, what I'd like to talk about is why that's important, why this place is important. It's a real pleasure to be able to give a Dharma talk to all you live people. I've given just a few Dharma talks to live people, or even on Zoom, I consider that live people, but I've given thousands of Dharma talks to myself. On and on and on, these Dharma talks that go on and on. Like, sometimes they're to an imaginary audience, you know, some people that really need to hear this. And, you know, if you imagine for a moment going through your day and you're just able to experience your day as it appears. You wake up, you say hello maybe to your spouse, you have a delicious breakfast, you go to work, you might get into an argument with a coworker, but it's actually might be productive. You go through your day, you know, the dinner, bed, wonderful day, right? But we don't usually go through that day because imagine you've got this person who's right behind you all the time, telling you, oh no, you should be doing it like this, or oh, I really like that, you know. You should really, you know, that was great. This is no good. All the time, this person is just yammering away at you, you know, just blah, 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 blah. And we're missing it. We're missing every day. We're missing the day. So our practice is about being able to let that person kind of just go away. Just quiet down, guy. It's like, we don't need to hear all that. So, one of the forms that we use to practice is bowing. And, you know, our practice is like kind of, this is maybe a little obtuse. We put on these great robes, we come into this room, we bow to a Buddha. It's maybe sometimes, even on retreats now, like it sometimes is surreal. I never actually feel like it's not important. I never feel like it's not working, gonna work, valuable. But sometimes I feel like it's sort of surreal, where there's sort of suspended belief, like, this is just bizarre. There's a group of us in a big circle with these gray robes on. We start the morning at 4:30 with 108 bows. Like 108? Are there really 108 levels of consciousness that we're bowing to? I don't know, but it seems like it's maybe an arbitrary number, maybe not. So it's like, well, bowing is not exactly first nature to me growing up, a happy American kid in North Carolina, like spiking the football when we scored a touchdown and watching cowboy movies, putting on the hat and riding off into the sunset. Americans bowing is not. So why are we doing this strange thing? Why are we bowing, and what do we get out of it? Zen Master Songhyang, Bobby, often says, she said, I don't really know, I'm not going to tell you we get a lot out of this practice, but I can tell you 2 things you'll get out of this practice. And of course, she could tell us a lot about what we might get out of this practice, but she's like, keeps it simple so everybody in the room can relate. There's 2 things, altruism and empathy. And, she goes, I can tell you if you do this practice, you're going to find yourself being more empathetic, and you're going to find yourself being more altruistic. And how does that happen? How do we end up doing that? So there's no magic bullet. A bow, like there are cultures, Japanese culture, bow when we greet people all the time. It's very humble bow. But that country started World War II. So it's not like you're going to bow and you're going to be like a peace-loving, wonderful person. But the bowing is one of the things that we do to get rid of that little person who's making all that noise in the back. We just put it down. We just put it down. We acknowledge that this little person that I'm imagining myself to be, or this problem that I'm imagining you to be, or this thing I don't like, or even this thing I like, I'm just going to bow and I'm going to put it down. And we do that over and over and over again. We start with 108 bows on a retreat. You start on a retreat, 108 bows, like I went away, practiced really hard meditation. I thought bowing and chanting were kind of a warm-up to the real practice, which was meditation. When I was like 19. And so I kind of went through it and didn't think about it a lot. I was young, so 108 bows or whatever wasn't particularly a burden, and the chanting was fine. It was in Korean. At that point, wasn't the translation being chanted, so I wasn't even objecting to, the English words in this chant. But when I left formal practice in 1982 and went off and, developed householder life, developed a life with a wife and kids, and business, and practicing artists and all this stuff. And felt like I had good concentration. I felt like I hadn't really dropped the practice, I was still practicing. I would go into the woods with a camera and I could spend 4 hours in an area the size of this room photographing. So I thought my concentration's good. Then I came to a retreat and woke up at 4:30 in the morning to do 108 bows. And I was like, this is going to be tough, 108 bows, this is going to be really hard, okay. So my mind's like going. So we start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I lose track. How many? So after, like scrambling around. So the second day, I'm going to, instead of chanting 1, 2, 3, I'm going to go, because I kept going 1 up, 2 down, 1 up. Then so I was way ahead. I kept losing track and not knowing when the bows were going to end. So I said, okay, I'm going to do 2. I'll say the number twice. 1. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And I would do that, trying to keep track. And I would go along, and pretty soon my head is doing math. Like, are we, wow, 10, we're 1/10 of the way there. We're getting there. 24, is that divided into 108? Are we 1/4 of the way there? Oh no, we're not quite, and then like 36, that's 1/3, we're 1/3 of the way there. We have a long ways to go, but we're 1/3 of the way there, just going on. And then 50, we're almost halfway. 54, we're halfway there. And then 69, well, that's distracting. Okay, then 72, that's 72, we're 2/3 of the way there. We're like getting there, and it goes on. And then we get to 108, and we don't stop, because somewhere I lost it, right? And I start to get pissed off. We're not done, shit. I'm really tired, It's like, oh, my back hurts, my legs hurt. Aren't we done? I'm getting sweaty. I'm going to have to go, change, So my mind just going like bananas over 108 bows, right? So I was like, wow, I really fell off the wagon or whatever. I thought I was able to concentrate. So that was maybe 2015, 2016, and just kept practicing and, doing a couple of week-long retreats a year, doing, an occasional, very occasional 1-day retreat, 3-day retreat. But waking up every, there's Nancy Hedgepeth does a 4-day, four mornings a week. She does an hour and a half practice from 6 to 7:30 online. Fabulous way to sort of, if you have a hard time practicing on your own, it's a really nice little group. You go online. You don't have to be there at 6 if something's keeping you. You can leave early if you have to go early. Really nice, steady practice. People say that our practice is like walking through the fog. You walk through the fog and you don't realize it, but you're getting wet. And you just keep walking through the fog, and then one day you're wet. Right? This is the point of the practice. And so without really trying, if I could say that, just getting up every morning and practicing and going to hear talks and reading books. Some of these books by other teachers are fabulous. It's developed. So now I start doing bows, and I just do one at a time. Just cut one at a time. And doing the bows allows us to sort of put down this small I. You just start cutting your karma. You're just cutting it off with each bow, these little thoughts that are appearing. And a bow makes it super clear. You're centered. You're working out. It maybe grew out of a monastic tradition where they did a lot of work, a lot of sitting. They needed to warm up in a cold temple in the morning, whatever. However it developed. It was a great workout to start the day. And you just cut your karma. Zen masters say, cut your karma with a bow. And so you go on a serious retreat. How many bows do the monastics do? 200, 400 a day? Lots and lots of bows, cutting karma. And so it's really a wonderful way to put yourself down, put this little voice, this silly me down. And I find that now, when there's something I'm not liking, or something someone's doing that's making me angry, or something I really want, there's this sort of instinct that arises to just put it down. Not because I'm forcing that. I'm not like, put it down. It just has sort of arisen naturally out of the practice. And that's the point, is like just practice, just do it. And this little I will drop away and the world gets brighter, it gets bigger. We really do become more altruistic and more empathetic, more attentive, much better listener. So I guess that's it. I just want to encourage you all to walk through the fog and get really wet.
Thank you so much, Mark. Well, Happy New Year. And welcome. It's good to see you all, the regulars, the people that have come a few times, and new people. Welcome to our Sunday program. And to the wonderful metaphor of walking through the fog and getting wet. We had a one-day retreat yesterday, and the way I welcomed the participants, I told them, welcome to the revolution. And it's the Buddhist revolution. One thing, so the Buddha did this Buddhist revolution, he gave us this formula, this framework for us to understand and investigate human suffering. So those are the Four Noble Truths. There's one way to talk about them. And the first one is the acceptance, the realization and acceptance that there is suffering. Actually, what the Buddha said, there is suffering. He didn't say life is suffering. There is suffering. It's a fact. Yeah? As part of the human condition. But we don't like it. Yeah? We think that when we suffer it's because, life sucks, or, someone or something is punishing us. Yeah? And he said, you have to understand that there is suffering. And he talked about, in this formula, in this prescription, that the reasons why we suffer, that is craving, aversion, delusion, and those reasons, those causes have to be abandoned. Yeah. Mark mentioned that person that is behind you, telling you stuff all the time. I like this, I don't like that. Oh, this is great. Don't you hate that person? Blah, 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 blah. All the time. Yeah. Those Dharma talks in your head all the time. Sometimes you don't even realize that there's a lot of drama going on. But if you see a retreat, then it's one way of noticing that. Yeah. And he also said that for us humans, if we relinquish, if we let go, and if we put down, to use our teaching phrases, this aversion and this craving and this illusion, then suffering ceases. Or translating that, as Mark was saying, the little I kind of drops away. Yeah. And that's revolutionary, because what he said is, for us it's possible to have enjoyment without craving, discomfort without aversion, and awareness without being deluded. And, that doesn't compute. Saying, huh? Really? No way. Absolutely no way. We don't believe it. We don't think that's possible. And that's the revolutionary part. Because what happens is we have all these things that happen to us. And they create these feeling tones. The other thing that the Buddha pointed out is that of all the things that go on inside us, there are only 3 flavors, believe it or not. Boils down to 3 things: a pleasant sensation, an unpleasant sensation, and a sensation that is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. To use the Buddhist lingo, something neutral. If you get something pleasant, automatically you want more of that. Craving is instantaneous. If some discomfort appears, automatically you want to push it away. Aversion is there. I don't like it. I don't want it. Make it go away. Yeah. And then we have those things that are neutral. That we ignore all the time. Yeah. I tell people, you have a left arm. Yeah. Until this moment, you were not paying attention to your left arm, but now you are. Yeah. And that's kind of a neutral thing. It's just there. Now, you may have a sweater or something that is very soft and nice. Maybe you got it as a present. And it's like, wow, this is so nice. And that's okay. But that may turn into some craving. Or you may have an itch. Or the sweater or the shirt that you're wearing is not that comfortable. It brings attention to that, and that generates some aversion. And that's simple stuff. But what happens is those things grow and grow and grow and grow. Like an avalanche, it starts a little. And that aversion can turn into hatred and anger and really something really. And the other way too, that little craving can turn into some big attachment and all that. So that's why Zen Master Sun San used to say, don't make, don't hold, don't attach. Because we're making stuff all the time. Mark alluded to that. These fabrications, these proliferations, all the stories that go on here. Non-stop. And because we have all that stuff in there, all the stories, all the memories and all that, then we miss this moment. Rather than life being as it is as it should be, because we always think it should be this way. And that's the revolution that the Buddha gave us. Yeah. Turning things inside, looking at us, and paying attention to that. And interestingly, if you practice for a while, then you get to experience what Mark mentioned too, that sometimes you'll see those things happening. Oh. But your relationship to that is different, so you don't react. You respond rather than reacting. Because, as I said many times, for me, anger is something that I think, if we can measure it, is faster than the speed of light. Yeah? I don't know, maybe it's just me. Someone cuts you off and like, faster than instantaneous. And that's the way we are pre-programmed. Yeah? But if we slow down a little bit and we had some type of practice, sometimes we can see that. It's like, oh, look at that. And then you put it down. Yeah. So, any questions? Yes. And yes, if you can please use the microphone so that we can hear you and the people.
I promise I won't cough. So I was thinking about what Mark was saying and kind of having that little person behind you and then the first noble truth of suffering. So is suffering nothing more than our ego?
So the question is suffering nothing more than our ego? That's part of it, you know. That's part of it. Yeah. So there's the suffering that comes from pain, yeah. And then there's suffering that comes from change, things changing all the time, and that's the way life is. And because we want life to be in a certain way, that for us is hard to accept. Yeah. And for the most part, you know, we have stability, so we don't see that. But things change, you know. So that's another way of suffering. Yeah. And then there's the suffering that comes from all the physical and all the mental stuff. And yeah, that's the small I. That's another way of calling that, you know. It's just I, my, me. Yeah. We can think about that ego as I, my, me, just centering ourselves just on I, my, me. But it is possible to become altruistic and empathetic. It is possible not to just be for I, my, me, but for all beings. And you hear that phrase a lot in the school. And in our practice, there are two components, the wisdom and compassion. Wisdom and compassion. So, and you need both. So yeah, think of the ego as I, my, me, I, my, me, I, my, me. Yes?
Can I ask what is cutting karma?
What is cutting karma?
Yeah, the question is, what is cutting karma? Yeah, so let's start with karma. Yeah. Karma is one of those words that is part of our lingo. Yeah. I have bad karma. That's my karma. That's my life. I remember in the old days there was a sticker in Boston area. That's my car's karma. Because you're getting a lot of parking tickets. Yeah. But karma just means action. Yeah, cause and effect. You do something, if I hit him like that, you may get mad. Or hit me back. Cause and effect, exactly, cause and effect. So we tend to think of karma more because of our spiritual traditions, the Judeo-Christian stuff, more like faith and what you deserve, but it is not quite like that. But another way of thinking of karma is all these mind habits that we create by doing things the same way, by reacting. I mentioned reacting rather than responding. So from the time we're kids, we learn and we're taught to react certain ways. Yeah. I remember when my daughter, Oriana, she was little, and sometimes she got, hurt or something, but she didn't react. Yeah? But all the adults, oh my God, and then they react. So they learn that reaction to certain things. Our life is like that. And that's what I was saying. Someone cuts me off, I'm already pre-programmed to it. So that's our karma, these mental habits that we have. We react to things in a certain way. The things we like, the things we don't like. But if we had some type of practice, like sitting in a retreat or doing vows or mantra practice, then you can see those happening. Okay? Takes some time, but you can see those happening. When you sit in a retreat, there is nothing. You're just sitting there with other people in silence. So all the normal things that happen to you will appear, but you won't have the things that you normally have to either mask them or try to minimize their impact, Like, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee, going to call this friend. Whatever it is there. So you have to see that, investigate that. And that's what we call cutting your karma, because with time, those habits lose their force. Yeah? Sometimes we use the image of burning your karma. Because sometimes retreat get like a furnace. You're burning your karma. But those habits are interesting. Sometimes if you sit a long retreat, you see these things that keep popping up the same thing again and again and again. And then it doesn't have the same hold on you. Your relationship to that habit changes. Okay? And guess what? Another one takes its place. So that's why Zen Master Sun used to say, try, non-stop for 10,000 years. But that's the attitude. That's the attitude. And one of the things I mentioned in the retreat yesterday is that this practice takes some effort. Takes some effort. You have to put the work. No one can do it for you. I mean, intellectually it sounds great. For some of you right now, oh, wow, this is great. But another thing that the Buddha did was to emphasize that you have to digest it. Sometimes we use that image to digesting your karma. Meaning you get to understand it, get to make it yours. And then you can use your karma. Because we have certain predilections, certain predispositions to do things. Yeah? So we can use that. And we call that our direction. What is the direction of our practice? You heard me say this many times before, those of you who are regular, that I learned from Zen Master Dae Kwang. Why do you eat every day? That's a very interesting question. Yeah, we can go to the list, because I'm hungry, because I like eating, whatever. But really, why do you eat every day? If you find that, then you find your direction. And then you can use this karma to help the world. Not just the I, my, me. That's the ego part, as we were talking before. Any other question?
I have a question.
Oh, another man, let's see.
Good morning. It's not a hard question for you. So this morning I did orientation, and we had 12 people. I didn't count them, but I'm guessing about 12. Anyway, and most of them have done some other type of meditation, but it was their first time here. And they had to listen to me for over 30 minutes. So I'm wondering what you would say to these new people who are just here for the very first time. Why should they come back to the Providence Zen Center? Thank you.
Wonderful. This is just a little PR for the Providence Zen Center.
I'm all about that.
So this is a place that as Mark was saying, is wonderful to have this place here, because it's a place that allows you or provides a space for you to do this investigation. Okay? Some of us, or most of us, have these questions. Where you are born, where do you come from? When you die, where do you go? We have many different scenarios for that. Yeah? The Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever. But they're just possibilities. We don't know. Yeah? Who are you? Or what are you? Yeah. Sometimes those questions appear, especially when we have situations that make no sense, like September 11th, for example. Or someone you love dearly dies, or something happens, or you have a breakup. You know? It really hits you. Yeah? And then you start wondering, what is a human being? What is this life about? What is the meaning of life? So sometimes you have those questions, and most of the time you either go to philosophy or religion or some type of spiritual practice. I already mentioned at the beginning that the Buddha offered this framework for us to understand why we suffer and to investigate that. So that's what this place gives you. And these techniques are not new. These are all spiritual hacks. They're thousands of years old. Yeah. Coming from India and the East. Indians been wonderful, that culture. They were studying the mind way before anything. Yeah. Way before many civilizations. Yeah. Yeah. And they were really into numbers. You were asking about 108? So 108 is 1 to the first power times 2 to the second power times 3 to the third power. 1 times 4 times 27. So yeah, 24 is not divisible by that. But when you get to 27, you can say we're a fourth of the way there. And that comes from all the Vedic stuff. So these techniques are there for us to take advantage of them and use them so we can investigate that. So the meditation instruction, the practice is very simple. You know, paying attention first to your body, getting a stable position. Notice, not comfortable, stable. Yeah. The ways of holding your hands, your back, and all that. And then connecting that with your breathing. No surprise there, you take a deep breath, you relax. You breathe in, make the exhalation twice as long as the inhalation. And breathing starts a few inches below your belly button, which is the center of gravity of your body. Okay? And that's where, surprise, the hands go. Just there, just below your belly button. And in the Oriental culture, it's called the Dantian, or Hara in Japanese. You're talking about the Japanese. Yeah. And in Korean, that is translated as the energy garden, which is a nice image. Yeah. Because when you see it, and you have heard, some of you have heard me say this, we're moving the energy from the penthouse to the basement. Literally, your energy just settles. If you see long retreats, and then you get a lot of energy. Right here. And that's what Zen Master Tan used to say. You know, your center becomes stronger, stronger, stronger. And you become like one of those dolls. Yeah, we have those. They have the weight at the bottom. Some of you may remember those. You punch them, they go like this, but they come back. That's our practice. Because remember, there is suffering. So this stuff is going to happen. But can we come back to center? And when we come and practice, and you probably mentioned that in your meditation instruction, what we do is just keep coming back. Keep coming back. Because what happens, you see it and then, okay, I'm doing it, great. And next thing, you're off to the past or the future, or what you're going to do tomorrow, or whatever it is. But during that practice, you have these moments of enlightenment. Literally, you wake up and say, oh, that's right. Clear mind, clear mind, clear mind. Clear mind, clear mind. And off you go again. And then, yeah, and it may happen just once during a sitting period. But with time, they become more frequent, so to speak. And that's the part about the effort and all that. So yes, take advantage of this place. And one of the things that is wonderful about this place, and we're very thankful to the people that run it and have run it and built this place, is that it's here. And you know that you can always come back. We have one person at the retreat yesterday, no, not you, that's been away for 20 years. And he came back and sat retreat yesterday. I'll introduce you to him. He said, smiling at me, maybe. And that's the beautiful thing, you know, that you come back and he's here, this place. You know. This energy, the aroma of incense and all that. And not only is the people that help to keep it going, but it's the people that come and sit time after time after time after time. Yeah. All these programs, all of you that are sitting here. Yeah. And that's what makes the difference.
Simon.
Yeah. So, yes, please do come. And we have many, many, many different programs, and we'll talk about those later, and I know there's going to be some announcements at the end. So.
Thank you.
Prego. Noche de qué. Any other questions?
So part of doing orientation, I find that especially teaching Dharma teachers beginning to do orientation is how do you explain this not knowing mind to a group of beginners? Or do you even bother to try in orientation? What is your thoughts on that?
Thank you, Papsanim. Yeah, so the question is how do we explain this not knowing mind? Two people attending a meditation instruction, beginners, but I think that applies to all of us. You know, how do we explain something that is very hard to explain? Yeah. So most of the time we do this, you know, this cliche thing, which is, what are you doing right now? Yeah. You hear that all the time. But what that does is to bring you back to this moment. To bring you back to this moment. Yeah. So if I say, what color is this mat? Yeah. You can say it. Yeah, blue. Yeah. And that's a functioning mind. Yeah? In English we call it blue, and in Spanish we call it azul. Yeah. Italian, azzurro, I think. In Italian, yeah?
Azzurro.
Azzurro, yeah. So, which one is the right color? Yeah. It's just a convention. But that convention allows to function. And that's our don't know mind functioning. Just like that. Yeah. But that don't know mind just moves away quickly. Because we can, oh, that's a nice blue. I really like that blue. Wow. Wow. Maybe I'll get an outfit that color. Or maybe I'll get a mat like that. You know? Or even an extreme, you know, oh, maybe when no one is watching, I'm going to take one home. So who thought of blue? These people have absolutely no taste. Look at them. I like Japanese style. Everything is black. Yeah, but the mat is just blue. And you hear that all the time. Yeah. Floor is brown. Robe is gray. Sounds silly, but it's just a way of bringing us back to that. Yeah. So that's one way of explaining don't know mind. It's mind that just functions. Just do it. Yeah. And we pay a lot of money to see that in action. when we see artists and athletes and all that they just flying through the air with a ball and it's like, wow. Or they grab a saxophone or a guitar and they do a solo and it's like, wow. Or an artist. You see a photograph that they took, it's like, wow. Maybe an object that you've seen 1,000 times, but the way they see it, it's like, wow. Yeah. And then there's just the mind that just reflects. That's part of it. But it's before thinking, before words and speech. But we just give it names. Yeah. Call it God or Buddha or don't know mind or the Zen favorite emptiness. Yeah. But it actually has no name. So that's why in our tradition we use this teaching technique. What's the name of that? That's why that's beautiful. Because for 1 millisecond, it's like that. There's a mouse in that corner. For a millisecond, the mouse goes like that. And at that moment, all minds are just that don't know mind. That sound, that. Yeah. And that's the beauty of this. And we keep using it and using it and using it over and over again. Yeah. So, but we're still trying to explain it, Popsani. That's why we all help each other and, hear it in different ways, from different traditions and, But once you have the experience, you can relate to that. Oh, yes. They're talking about don't know mind. Yeah. But we all have those experiences, Get up early in the morning, you see the sunrise. For a millisecond, it's just, yeah. So that's part also of the human condition. Makes life beautiful and interesting. Yeah. That's the way life is rather than it should be. Yeah. So don't know mind is just allowing life to be the way it is, in a way.
So speaking of beginners, our next retreat is the Foundations of Zen workshop, I think in a couple of weeks. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. This is more PR. This is wonderful. Yeah, so most of the retreats we do here are in silence, which is very interesting. But I know we humans, especially here in the East, we like to learn and we like to read and hear stuff. So every once in a while, we try to do it maybe once or twice a year. We offer a one-day retreat called Foundations of Zen. And in that retreat, what we do is we talk a lot. So we give you an introduction about the history of Zen, where it came from, connected to Buddhism, a little bit of introduction to the Korean Zen tradition that we belong to. We talk about meditation practice. We give an extended orientation. We also talk about the other practices that we do, like bowing and chanting and mantra. We talk about koan practice. We have lunch together. We do some periods of meditation, very short, so you get a taste for that. And you get to ask a lot of questions. So it's a way for you to learn more about the tradition and Zen and all that. So that's what's coming up, and it's 2 weeks from yesterday, on the 18th, Foundations of Zen. And a lot of the teachers here are going to participate. Kwan Hansunim is going to participate. I'll be there. Zen Master Dae Kwang hopefully will be there too. And some of the senior Dharma teachers are going to be there too, helping with all that. I just got the look. So that's that. So hopefully some of you can attend.
right, so thank you both for your talks. And pro tip, you don't have to do all full bows. You can do half bows, and it is great exercise. So just a few announcements. Our long winter retreat, Kilche, kicked off yesterday. So anyone who has sat retreats with us before can register, and it is a minimum of 1 week at our beautiful monastery on the hill. And you can sign up for that online. We do have the Foundations of Zen on the 18th, and that's going to be followed by 2 hybrid retreats where we will have a one-day retreat and a Christian Buddhist retreat that is offered both in person and online. And again, you can register for that online. Additionally, every Wednesday we have dinner and practice starting at 5:30. And it is a free vegetarian dinner, so join us for that. And then, let's see, we have Dharma School, is it this next Sunday? That's for kids ages 8 through 12, and it's kind of 6 through 12. 6 through 12, sorry about that. And yeah, that's every other week through June. The Quantum America's annual fundraiser is still open. I think last I checked, it had raised over $60,000. So if you haven't contributed yet, please do. Every little bit counts. And we also have an Amazon wish list that you can shop. If you enjoy shopping, shop for the Zen Center. Additionally, if you would like to volunteer, you have any kind of skill imaginable, definitely let us know and we'll find something for you to do. A little bit of a preview, we are going to schedule what we're calling an active retreat, where we'll get a couple of yoga classes from Lisa, and we will help around the Zen Center, and we'll sit a little bit, so that will be a great opportunity to practice together action. And if you don't mind, I would like to take a photo of everyone. If you don't want to be in the photo, feel free to leave or tell me to take you out. Did you want to be in the photo?
That's fine. Yeah, I just want to mention something about the Christian Buddhist retreat. This is a tradition that we've been doing the Providence Zen Center for many, many, many years. Those started a long time ago with Zen Master Dae Kwang and Father Hunt. And Father Hunt is a Trappist monk, which is also a Zen master, a rare combination. But the nerve, he turned 90, so he's retired. I got to do some of those Christian Buddhist retreats with him here for about 10 years. But now we have Sister Madeline. She's a Dominican sister, and she's continued in the tradition of these Christian Buddhist retreats. And Sister Madeline is a student of Father Hunt, so she got a transmission from Father Hunt, so she's also a Zen teacher. So if you are into the Christian tradition, come and participate. And as Eva mentioned, we're bringing the hybrid part back, so you can join that way too. And then you get to experience. Most of the retreat is a regular Zen retreat, silence and sitting, but there's some elements and discussions with Sister Madeline. So.
I'll invite you to get in the photo, and while we're setting that up, we are going to have refreshments as usual right outside, and the gift shop is going to be open, and we do have Composting Our Karma, the book by Bobby Rhodes and Master Zen, who is the head of our school. So definitely check out the book if you like to read. All right. Look Looks like you're enlightened. Here we go. Thank you so much.
Does that mean you don't need a flash?
That's right. That's a good one.
Could I have a minute with all the regulars? Just half a second.